Square distinguished Final Fantasy I from the other RPGs at the time by making it more like Dungeons and Dragons. So for the sequel, they threw most of that out. Some of the changes were good, most weren't, but the story was a big improvement. Like I said in my Final Fantasy I video, that game was more like a series of side quests than one coherent story. Like the game was just stalling until it reached the right amount of hours. With Final Fantasy II's story, it has progression, it has events that lead from one to the other in a way that makes sense, and there's an overarching story that leads everything you do. And it starts when the Empire decides to begin its quest for world domination by leveling your podunk little town for some reason. Our heroes, Firion, Maria, Guy, and Leon, try to fight off the Empire and they lose. They wake up in the local castle and ask the local royalty if they can join the local resistance. But after the battle with the Empire, Leon goes missing. I wonder if that will come up later on in the story. And while this twist is very clearly telegraphed, it does make Final Fantasy II's story a little more in-depth than Final Fantasy I. There's betrayal and redemption and death. And that's a setup for the game. Your plucky little group of nobodies joins the resistance to stop the Empire from taking over the world. Oh, and just out of curiosity, I looked up how many Final Fantasy games have an evil empire. It's 12. Alright, now that's enough praise, now here are the problems. In Final Fantasy II, Square ditched the traditional leveling system of 1 for a more learn-by-doing system. You want to get better with a sword? Attack with a sword. You want to get better with magic? Use magic. Now, while it seems this would lead to a more organic leveling system, it has a lot of problems. The first being, to gain HP, you have to take damage, which leaves you at the mercy of enemies' random attacks, or you have to game the system by attacking your own party members. This also made leveling magic a nightmare because each spell has its own XP, and there are dozens of spells, so you either waste a ton of time grinding them all, or you just pick your favorites and ignore the rest like I did. Fire, ice, lightning, a few heal and protection spells got me through the game. Even when I got the ultimate spell, Ultima, I used it once, saw how weak it was compared to my regular spells, and didn't bother to use it anymore, because I just didn't feel like grinding it. The other lesson I learned the hard way is that your max MP only increases when you use magic in battle. I was using my time between battles to heal up, but my white mage's max MP would never increase unless I used the spell during a fight. This unique leveling system also clashes with the other design decisions Square made. Remember when I said Leon went missing at the beginning of the game? Well, that leaves you with a team of 3, and throughout the game, a different 4th member will rotate in and out, but they always start from scratch. So you either have to waste time grinding them up so they can catch up with the rest of the team, or you get used to being a team of 3.5, like someone's mother made you bring your little brother along to play. This is especially apparent when Leon joins you right near the end of the game, but he starts from scratch. And I couldn't be bothered to sit there and level him up, so I just powered through till the final boss. And I couldn't beat the final boss. Not only did I barely do any damage, anytime he hit me, he healed. So I did what any self-respecting gamer would do. Googled it. And that's when I learned about a sword. A sword that would make not only the final boss, but most bosses of the game trivial. A sword that's missable. And I missed it. I had 2 choices. Either grind and hope to at some point become strong enough to take on the final boss, or start over. So I started over. See, there's a point in the game where the Empire creates a cyclone. I'm not really sure why they create a cyclone. It doesn't move or do anything, but cool, I guess. And in the small amount of time between when the cyclone appears and when you go inside it to fight, you can go into town and talk to a villager who's so concerned about you going into the cyclone that he shows you his hidden stash of weapons. And among these weapons is the blood sword, a sword that does damage based on the enemy's max HP, which lets you defeat any boss and the final boss in a few hits. But restarting the game let me explore a feature that I didn't really look at in the first game: boosts. In the Pixel remasters, you can change gold drops, XP rates, encounter rates, and it'll let you fly through the game if you want to, which I did. straight through the final boss with my fancy new sword. So what I think of Final Fantasy II? It took a lot of chances and not a lot of good ones. The new leveling system might have been interesting on its own, a little frustrating, and making every magic spell separated into its own XP was a horrible decision because it means you either have to grind constantly or just do what I did and pick a few of your favorites and ignore the rest. Having a rotating fourth party member is fine. It can add some variety. It can add to the story. It kind of reminds me of 13.2 where you can catch a monster and use them as another party member. But combining it with the leveling system, it was always going to clash in a very obvious way. There were later releases that tried to balance this out, but I see why Final Fantasy II took so long to get to the West. But that's just what I think. Tell me what you think down below, good or bad, let me hear it. And while you're down there, if you could hit the like and subscribe button, I'd really appreciate it. And I'll see you next time.